I'm going to show you a little bit about an organization system that I've been using, and some of you have asked for this. It's also a video about a particular piece of software that I found that works well for me. Getting Things Done is the name of the system, and IQtell is the name of the software. And I found it's really been very valuable. I'd like to share it with you. Getting Things Done was written by David Allen in 2001, and it's been updated by him many times since then. Basically, the system works like this. The inbox could be your email inbox, or it could be just an idea that you had, or something that someone suggested to you, a movie recommendation, or something that you heard in the hallway that you thought would be interesting. Then you ask, what is it? Is it actionable? Is it something that you should take some kind of action on? So the question is, what should you do with this? So for example, say you hear a movie that somebody said was good and you think, well, I don't want to see it. It's just not for me. Then you throw it in the trash. But if you think, that sounds like a good movie, one day, I think I'd like to see that. But not now. I don't have time. You put it either into someday maybe, or maybe you schedule it on a calendar, or send yourself a tickler. Like a month from now, you'll be reminded when you have more time. So if it is actionable at the moment, then you ask, what is the next action? What should you do? And you then file that into projects and categories of projects, and then sub-projects and tasks underneath those sub-projects. So it's kind of a hierarchical system of filing things that's based on your particular responsibilities. And if it takes less than 2 minutes, and I've heard 5 minutes, 4 minutes, I do it if it's less than 4 minutes. That's kind of my rule of thumb. You do it right away. And if you can delegate it to someone else, or maybe you need to ask someone else for something before you can continue, there's a report you need to write and you need to get some data from somebody, send them an email. But don't just send them the email and let it go. Tag it that you're waiting for that back. So if for some reason it falls between their cracks, you can remind them. You can also tag things as a next action, so it floats to the top or with different levels of priority. You can throw them in your calendar, and the calendar can remind you. And once every so often, every week, that's his recommendation, you go through with a review of your projects and actions, just to clean up things that you've done and to reorganize and maybe remind yourself of some. My principles for getting things done, these are things that I use, and this is a standard aspect of the getting things done system, is that you externalize all the tasks. That is, you write them down. If you have an idea that you'd like to follow up later, don't rely on your memory. You put it into your system, and then that frees your mind for doing other things. If you can do it in 4 minutes, that's my rule of thumb. I do it now. And the rest of it I organize in logical ways. And that takes a little bit of doing to set up the organization structure, but these types of things might be of some use. Of course, the major project, the sub-project, the tasks, the hierarchical to-do list, you can retrieve your task by any one of these things later. You might want to record when it's due, the priority level, how long it'll take, who else is going to be involved in this project, where you'd like to do it, and lots of other things. The idea is process your email quickly, and ideally you touch the email only once. You open it up and you file it away, or you do it right away, or you put it in, you decide what actionable to do with every email just as you open it. You read your emails only twice a day rather than throughout the day, and I have found that to be quite useful more or less recently. I've been implementing that part. The idea is then you can focus on your projects, actions, and tasks. You can devote your attention to the things that you've organized previously and do them in the order that you feel is the highest priority. Of course, you have to have a robust system for retrieval. You have to have systems for reminders as well, so you don't forget when that calendar date is coming up, or you can throw in a tickler that'll bounce back into your text, as a text, or as a pop-up on your computer, or even an email. And reminders not only for yourself, but for other people as well. That is, people that you've asked for things, people you've asked a question. If they don't answer, and maybe it's fallen between their cracks, and so you remind them. And I found that that's been very appreciated. Ideally, you can integrate all of these things with tools that you already use, like calendar, contacts, other tools. As we'll see, we can integrate Evernote with the program that I'm using. And then ideally you'll have the system available all the time. If you carry a smartphone, it should be on there. If you have an iPad, if you have a desktop, laptop, whatever, you should be able to get this cross-platform. So that's the idea. Now I'm going to show you IQtell itself. IQtell, you can find it easily on IQtell.com, and it of course has email. So as you can see on the left here, we have my 2 email clients. If I click on the top one, where I am now, I will see only my Northeastern Illinois University email. If I click on the bottom one, I'll only see my personal email. And if I click on the top level there that says email, I'll see all my emails. And of course it tells you how many new ones are in each, and parenthetically. So this is basically a pretty good system for integrating different email programs, and that's not that unusual, but it is a very functional and very nice feature of this program. When you're looking at your email, you can tag one or more of these things here, and then either click on action and go, or fine-tune what happens when you click that box. So for example, this is going to make an action, which is one level under my projects in that organizational hierarchy. It's going to create it as a child of projects, so it'll ask me which project does this link to. It's going to open it up so I can do all those settings very easily, and prompt for a short description so I don't have to use the subject line of the email in my holding box. I can type in something else, like waiting for the answer on the XYZ data. I can set it as a next action. That simply puts a star on it. You can easily retrieve things that have been set that way. You can set a due date, a reminder, and then a reminder, if you click on that, it asks you when and how would you like to be reminded in relation to the due date. The context is usually where you'd like to be, but you can use that as lots of tags for different types of tags. And a priority, of course, high, medium, low. And then what would you like to do when you're done with this? Archive the email, file it in a particular subfolder, delete it, what have you. So that's very, very nice, and it makes processing emails really quick and easy. The other major aspect of the program is that hierarchical to-do list, and here's the top level of mine, projects, and so I have all of these major kind of categories of projects that I file things in. It's just a very personal set of duties or responsibilities that I have that span both my personal life and my work life. Under projects, you have actions, and so you open up a project by clicking here, and down come all the actions that you've assigned and connected to that project. You also can see that under actions you have subtasks, and subtasks are very much the same. These here are subtasks, and if we look up above, we can see that the subtasks are connected to an action which is connected to a project. And there are all of these columns here that we'll see, like the tags, whether or not it's starred, the time, the calendar, who you're delegated it to, what folder it's in, all the amount of time needed, which I haven't added. All of those things appear as you would set it up with the settings tools, and there are lots of settings tools. It's a very customizable system. The calendar includes lots of calendars. All your calendars are integrated in this calendar. They look just the same. They're different color coded for where they're coming from, which different calendars. And of course you can display them day, week, month, and so on, just like any other. There are some interesting folders like Someday and Collection Box. Someday you use for ideas that you think are good ideas, but you just don't have time or energy for them now. You'd like to come back to them later. You don't want them to forget that you had the good idea, so you throw it in a thing called Someday. Now and then you go take a look at there and see if something pops out at you. Collection Box is supposed to be for things that you really don't know what to do with at the moment. Maybe you're still deciding whether or not it's actionable, and you throw it in the collection box, and then you can go back in there and filter out things and sort through them and work them through later. Agenda is one thing I use. The agendas open up all the different agendas. Then when I'm putting together the agenda, I'll just open that up and take the information out of there. One of the things that IQtell does that other programs don't do is it integrates with Evernote. So if you click on this button Evernote in any of your notebooks, you open that up and you'll see exactly what you typed in Evernote. One really nice thing is that when you're replying to an email, let's say I put in a message here replying, and I'm asking for some feedback, or I'm asking for some data or something like that, I can just simply click on this button here, waiting for, and then when I send it, it not only sends the email to the recipient, but it also sticks something over into the waiting for folder, which I think is the next one here, yes. So the waiting for is just another kind of repository. I've blacked out the people that I'm waiting for here just for privacy. But you can see that any of these you can open up. If you click on the arrow here, it opens up and you can see the originating email. I click on that email and I'm right in the email. I can say, hey, whatever happened to that question I asked you? And I can send it again. This is really, really useful for me. You can make your own searches. These are all searches that I've made. For one thing, I've made one that's called aversion, things that I psychologically don't like to do. It's very difficult for me to do things, pay the bills or something like that. If I find that I have some kind of mental block against it, I just tag it with aversion. And then when my energy level is high, I click up here and boom, I see all the things that I'm averse to. Errand, I throw in here anything that has to do with purchasing. So when I'm on the road, I'm driving past Costco or Home Depot or something, I can look through my errands and say, oh yeah, I have to buy that, and it'll remind me of it. And you can make any kinds of these that you want, and the selected ones you can throw up above if you use them regularly. It's really handy to have that at your fingertips. Contacts, organizations, and especially contact groups are quite nice. The contacts are just like you find anywhere. You can keep track of all the information that you do. It will populate from your Google contacts. And interestingly, when you send an email to someone who's not in your contact list, it'll ask you, would you like to put them in there? And you can say, no, uncheck the boxes and then say send, or just leave it there, say send. It sends the email to them and it puts them into the contact list. So next time you start typing their name in, it fills that whole field. Up here there's a search. You can search for everything. You can search for contacts, email, Evernote, and you put in the term up here and it searches within here. I have found this to be a little bit difficult to use. It's not as robust as some others, particularly for searching through email. But if you have some agenda or item, or if you have some action or something that you want to find, you can get it out of here. Lots of other things I haven't mentioned. There's a tickler to remind you. They pop up, as I said, on your phone, or as a pop-up on the computer, or it sends you an email. There are, I think I did mention these buttons up here, which are all customizable. Click on one of these and say go, and it will do it. It will file it. It will send it to whatever you have set up. There are other things that I didn't mention either. This is very customizable. You can select filters, so you can filter through things that are overdue or what have you on the fly. And then there's some other things. Down here is the to-do list, which is very nice. Anytime you want to pop it up, you can just like say open, and that's a quick thing where you can just say, okay, you throw things in there that are maybe won't take very long, and you want to get to very soon. It's just kind of another way of accessing your next actions. Any of these columns here you can sort by. Of course, you can sort by the most recently modified. You can sort by project. You can even show in groups. So if I click on my project list and say show in groups, it sorts everything into groups of projects, and then I can sort maybe by actionables, next action, and then each project is listed with the next actions right at the top, so I can scroll through them and see what are the most important things to do in any of my categories. It works really well with cross-platform. That's another thing. I use it on my iPad. I use it on my Android. It has apps for all of these things. They're not quite as functional as the desktop app, but they're seamlessly integrated. For example, if you want to write a search filter in your desktop, you can then access that search filter on your Android. But you can't make a search on the app. Now let's just go right to IQtell. It's the online version is IQtell.com. And I'm going to log in now, but once you get your setup on your computer, your login is automatic. I start out, I just have my default settings set at emails. I can open that up and see any of those emails. I'm going to sort descending, and let's say I'll just delete these two to show you how easy it is to delete them, like that. And let's say that I want to send this one over to, let's say I want to send this one to my GIS class. I'd go up here and say move, and type in 391. And there it is, 391 emails, and there it goes. Okay, let's say that I have an email that I need to reply to, and I'm just going to do a fake reply here. I'll say I'll forward this email to Joe Schmo. There is no Joe Schmo, so I'm going to say at abcmail.com. Okay, it's definitely going to bounce back. But I'm asking Joe, and I'll tell Joe. So please send me that data you have. Okay, and I don't want him to forget to do that, so I click on waiting for down here before I hit send. Now it's going to ask me, well, I don't know Joe Schmo at abcdmail.com. Would you like to put him in your contacts list? And if I just said okay, he would go in there, but I'm going to say no, I don't ever want to have that person in my contacts list. That says when you put in, it asks me when I put this in the waiting for, what would you like to say? And I'm going to say that data from Joe. Okay, and then I say okay. It takes me over to the form that you can see that the description is now that data from Joe. And who should I delegate it to? Well, let's say Joe, and I'll have a number of Joes pop up. This time I'll send it to Joe Bird. I'm going to delegate it to Joe Bird, but if I had saved that contact, Joe Schmo would appear here. What's the priority? I could add a priority if I want, and so on, and then add some other things and change all kinds of things. But then I save it, and then I go back to my email. Then when I'm done here, and I want to look through the waiting for all the things I'm waiting for other people to do, I'll find that that short description is right there, and it says Joe should. It's delegated to Joe. And so if I open that up and like, what was that about? And I can open up the email, and there it is. That's the email that I said. That's the email that I was referring to, and then I can go on and just reply or send them another reply all and say, hey Joe, did you forget about me? These are really nice tags here, like errand. These are things I need to buy. I just click on errand, and I see everything that I need to do while I'm on the road. So so if I'm by Home Depot or something, I'll see if there's something there that I need to buy. Things that I need to do today. These are things that I had indicated long ago that I needed to do today. Remember, we were looking at projects earlier. I'm going to go into this, say, the G&ES business project, and here we'll see all the actions. And it's very easy to take an action and just say, hey, that's really important. I just star it. I highlight the star. That becomes an actionable or next action. And then if I want to see all my actions that are starred, I just click on this filter that I've created up here. It's customizable up here as well. You can change which columns you're going to see. So if I don't want to see, say, things that I have a reminder for, I can take that off. And if I want to have the stars in this field, then stars will appear for these actions. I'll be able to see the stars for these actions. It's very easy to create a new action from anywhere. You can just say, action, let's type in a new action. Do this thing. And it creates an action. Well, if you go into actions, do this thing is here, and then you can go in and link it up to whatever you want to. You can say, do this thing as part of I have to do that for the Faculty Senate. Okay, save. Calendars, very easy, as you can see. You can turn on and off these calendars, display them in different colors. The settings, this is one thing about this program, is it has a lot of settings. This is something that it takes a little while to get to know. But once you get familiar with the tools, you'll see that there are many, many tools to use. Let's say that I have a project that I'd like to share. I'm working on one of these things. It's a project that I need to share with someone. Say Faculty Senate. I have somebody who's working with me side by side on all the things that are under Faculty Senate. What I would do is I would go under this and say sharing indication. Push that over, and then over here we see sharing, and I would go to Faculty Senate, click on this for sharing, and share it with whom. I've never done this, but I think this would then open up in someone else's IQtell as a project that they could participate in. So this could serve the same type of function as a very organized small Google Drive. The search here is functional. Search down here, you can indicate whether you want it really tight. That's what I keep it. I keep it very compressed, or if you if you like to have a little bit more space, or if you want to have it, spread out more, it's just kind of a quick way of indicating how much you want to see on your screen at once. Now take a look up here under behind the question mark. It's the knowledge base. It's really very, very nicely done. There are a lot of things here to scan through. They're really nicely written. Great clear examples. So it's very easy to learn. Every time I come in here, I learn something new. The other thing that we have up here under my workspace is a YouTube channel for Evernote. And they're
Welcome to the IQtell Get Started video. IQtell offers an all-in-one approach for processing email and managing your tasks and projects.
I find these videos to be very clear and very concise, really easy to watch and learn from. So, see, what else can I tell you? Why do I like this over other programs? Well, there was a period of time when they thought that they were going to have to shut this down, and people who are users of IQtell went out into the field and experimented with lots of other getting things done programs, and none of them had all the functionality of IQtell. One of the problems with IQtell that many people pointed out that for them it's not attractive enough. It's the user interface is a little bit difficult. For me, I think it's really, really intuitive, and I like the way it's very, very compact. But they are hiring someone to do a new user interface, and so it'll be easier to probably navigate soon, I think. But here are some things that IQtell had that we couldn't find in any of the other Getting Things Done systems. One, many of them allow you to save emails as actions. The subject line of the email becomes the action, but you lose the attachments to the email, and that's something that I really like. I don't think many of them have that sharing feature. Most of them are not cross-platform anywhere near as extensive and seamless as this one. Let's see, what else do they do? Does this do? It does some other things that we couldn't find, but overall, I think it's more customizable than anything out there. That's what I think. So anyway, I don't work for IQtell, but I am just gone evangelical about it, and that's why I'm sharing it with you, because this has really changed my life. It's made me feel so much more at ease to get things off my mind literally, to put them into the system, easy to access it, and I've become much more productive this way. Better use of my time, getting more things done and reminding people of things to kind of jumpstart when they hit a snag somewhere else. So this is just a gift to you if you like it. But it's a fabulous, fabulous program, and many people couldn't attend my presentation when I gave it on campus, and so I decided I would make this little video. So there you are, IQtell.com, and Getting Things Done by David Allen.